Would you have bet on Carlos Sainz being the driver to finally end Max Verstappen's winning run? Because things didn't look good right up until the Singapore Grand Prix a few weeks ago, but it finally happened. And in what way? Carlos Sainz has proven to everyone, and to Ferrari the most, that he has the capabilities to be a leader of a team, and that, in the case of his departure for Audi, for example, Ferrari would lose a lot. Now, with the support of Fred Vasseur, Ferrari seems to want to hold on to their driver and plan big things going forward. At times this season, it seemed unlikely for anyone to stop Verstappen from winning. And let's be honest, before the summer break, Sainz of all wouldn't have been the first name on the list of potential candidates for such a feat. Despite not making it to the podium all season, Sainz openly acknowledged the challenges he faced with the SF23, but this didn't significantly hinder his ability to gather points. And he was even leading his teammate Charles Leclerc in this regard. Nonetheless, it wasn't very exciting, to say the least. After the break, the narrative took a turn. Sainz demonstrated a marked improvement. So what sparked this change in performance? It's important to highlight that he's always been one of the more analytical drivers in the field, and typically he tends to gather more points in the latter half of the season as he masters the details of setup and tyre management. But this year, he believes he's been invigorated by the summer break and the opportunity to step back, re-evaluate his holistic approach to the weekend, and attempt to drag a little more from it. Before the summer break, there was already this decent feeling with everything, he clarifies. I sat down with my engineers during the summer break and we said, okay, what can we do to start putting the whole weekend together? Clearly we have a lot of pace, we are doing some good things, but we never put the whole thing together. So let's see what we can do to improve that and start having consistent performances in the second half, because the potential is clearly there. Sainz emphasised that what the team achieved after the summer break were collective triumphs, attributing them to the collaborative efforts of the entire team. Sainz expresses his joy and pride in seeing the tangible results of their analytical work, coupled with impressive speed. He goes on to acknowledge the fluctuating nature of his performance in his 3 seasons at Ferrari. In Formula 1, a driver in a Ferrari is subject to intense scrutiny, regardless of the car's competitiveness. Sainz faces an additional layer of evaluation because of the prevailing assumption that Charles Leclerc serves as Ferrari's benchmark, and consequently, Sainz's performance is often evaluated in relation to his teammates' achievements. Currently, Sainz finds himself in a peak phase, clinching Ferrari's sole victory in a season marked by scarcity, and in hindsight, it becomes evident that his triumph in Singapore was a foreseeable outcome. The challenging nature of the track, coupled with substantial changes since the previous year, plays into the strengths of an analytically inclined driver like Sainz, making it a venue where he is likely to excel. The last 18 laps in Singapore were real heart-in-the-mouth stuff, with Sainz being hunted by Lando Norris and teammate Leclerc, and with the ultra-quick Mercedes AMG of George Russell and Lewis Hamilton inexplorably closing in on the leaders after a late race pivot to a 2-stop strategy. But post-race, Sainz wasn't talking about the thrills or the terror, it was all about control. Rightly, he's been praised for having the clarity of thought under that pressure to figure out his best defence was using Norris as a buffer, and so choosing to back off and ensure the British driver was never isolated from the DRS tow. But that's more of a story for the outside world. In the pit lane, it's more the sort of thing you expect Sainz to do. Carlos Sainz's journey in Formula 1 began in 2015, when he debuted for Scuderia Toro Rosso, alongside fellow rookie Max Verstappen. And before this, he had undertaken testing duties for both Toro Rosso and Oracle Red Bull Racing. During these tests, particularly in the RB9 and RB10, Sainz left a lasting impression on individuals known to be hard to impress. And while it's customary for team management to publicly commend a rookie's performance when stepping into a car for the first time, the same cannot always be said for the race engineers overseeing the tests. However, Sainz was an exception, demonstrating an exceptional aptitude for learning, progressively improving his lap times, sticking to run plans, and providing feedback that was not only perceptive, but also easily comprehensible, an often undervalued skill in the sport. The image of Sainz as a driver who possesses a knack for understanding both his car and his own performance has remained with him over the past decade and was notably evident during his time at McLaren, where he established a strong rapport with his race engineers, even culminating in a playful musical nickname, Smooth Operator, a nod to a song by Sade. Sainz's tenure at McLaren saw significant achievements, including their first podium since 2014 at the Brazilian Grand Prix in 2019, followed by a third-place finish in the 2020 Constructors' World Championship. and it was amidst these successes that he received the call from Ferrari, marking a pivotal moment in his career. Carlos Sainz's track performances certainly caught the attention of the most esteemed name in motorsport. However, in the midst of that entire anticipation of new tyres and a completely revamped aerodynamic concept for 2022, combined with increasingly restricted testing opportunities, Sainz's clarity of thinking was valued just as highly as his lap times. His journey with Ferrari has been marked by successes, although they came at intervals. His debut season was notable for surpassing Leclerc in points, and the following year the dynamic shifted, with Leclerc dominating both scoring and qualifying, although it did feature the high point of Sainz's first victory at Silverstone. The early part of the current year seemed to mirror 2022 more than it did 2021, leaving Sainz visibly frustrated, hovering on the edge with that elusive final tenth just beyond grasp. However, his performances since the break indicate that he may have now found it, and despite this, Carlos remains cautious in his public statements, refraining from making bold predictions about a Ferrari resurgence in the latter part of the season. I still think there's going to be tough weekends out there where we're not going to be fighting for podiums and we're going to get P5 or P6. We just need to make sure we keep getting those if that's the maximum the team and the car can do on those weekends. What I'm more proud of is that we had a chance to win this year, and the team responded under pressure. I also responded, and we managed to put together a perfect weekend on the one chance that the situation gave us. That speaks well for the progress Ferrari is making. This progress that Ferrari is making was also discussed by Fred Vasseur, who commented that Sainz's victory in Singapore gave them the confirmation they needed that the team is heading in the right direction. Initially, the SF23 was an evolution of the F175, but it faced similar challenges with tyre degradation and inconsistencies that afflicted the 2022 model. A pivotal shift occurred at the Spanish Grand Prix, where Ferrari transitioned to a different car concept, moving away from the bathtub design of side pods in favour of the downwash effect, a design trend popularised by the success of Red Bull. Although immediate results were not evident, Ferrari diligently worked to comprehend and fine-tune their package. A breakthrough came in the practice sessions of the Dutch Grand Prix, leading to Sainz clinching pole position and a podium finish in Italy. This momentum culminated in Sainz securing a pole-to-victory triumph in Singapore, effectively ending Red Bull's unbeaten streak. It's important in terms of points, in terms of reward, Vasseur told the media. But I think the most important thing for us is that we have an extra push, to have confirmation that we are going in the right direction, to build up confidence for the drivers, for the team, and for the factory. It's for sure on this that you're building up for the future, and I think we took a decent step in this direction. There were discussions and rumours suggesting that Leclerc's contract would be the one extended, raising speculation about Sainz's potential departure from Ferrari. However, after witnessing Sainz's great performance in the second part of the season, it's evident that he's a formidable driver, and Ferrari should equally prioritise him alongside Leclerc. Losing Sainz would be a significant setback for an already struggling team aiming to re-establish themselves as championship contenders. And to achieve this, Ferrari needs a top-notch driving pair. Take for example Red Bull, which wants to sack Perez in order to get a driver like Lando Norris. Carlos secured a rewarding victory within the team, precisely when the future of both Ferrari drivers hangs in the balance, and this opportune moment could be better for Sainz to engage in contract negotiations with his stock at such a peak. This underscores why Audi is expressing interest in Sainz. His demonstrated skills make him a valuable asset, and there may still be time for Ferrari to secure his continued commitment. While Sainz has expressed unwavering focus on the prancing horse, a call from the German manufacturer would undoubtedly be a difficult proposition to disregard. Nonetheless, Ferrari currently has two exceptional drivers, and it's imperative that the team actively tries to keep both of them in their lineup. What do you think about Carlos Sainz? Do you like him as a driver? And if so, what do you think he can accomplish? Make sure you click and watch the next video right now.